Welcome to the Online Success Journey podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey podcast, Patience.
Hello everyone and welcome to Online Success Journey. This is episode 7. Are you ready to join the clan? Today we have Biba Pedron. Biba, she's a speaker, an author, a marketing expert, a radio host. She has helped countless small businesses and entrepreneurs to connect the dots of marketing, social media, networking, and branding to grow their business to six-figure. She has a simple but effective marketing strategy that really works. Hello, Biba.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Great. I know the clan is anxious to hear your story, so let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my clan a little bit about your background, about what you did before you started your online business? Take us right up to the last job or business before you started your online business.
Well, actually, so people will probably notice my accent. I'm from France. And when I was a little girl, I always had a dream, which was to live in the United States. I didn't really know what that means, but it was like a dream. And I always say that one day I will live in the US and especially in New York, and one day I will be American. So this case stayed with me for a very, very long time. And then one day I decided that it was maybe the time to really look at it, because it's not enough to say I would like to do this, but if you don't act, nothing never happened. And then I started in 1992. That's the very first time that I went to the United States. And I crossed from New York to San Francisco. I went for a month of vacation. And then when I arrived at the airport in New York, I really had the feeling that I was arriving at home. I still didn't see New York yet. Just as the plane was landing, and I really had the feeling that I was at home. So I said, okay, I know that I have the confirmation that one day I will live here. I didn't know when, I didn't know how it will be possible, but I know that at some point it will happen. And then for a few years, I went back and forth for vacation. And then I realized that when you want to go to a foreign country, you always have the problem with a visa, with green cards, or with that kind of things. And then for a few years, I really didn't see how I would be able to get a visa. So I try a different time to find a job, and I find a job. But then as soon as I say, well, I'm a foreigner, I don't have a visa, every time it say, no, it's not possible. You need the visa. So, and after a few years, going back and forth each time I had vacation, I realized that there was eventually an option, which was to create my own business in the US, and then I will be able to have a visa for that. So I didn't really had the money, because you need to invest a lot to get an investor visa. So I didn't have the money. I didn't know how to do. So I continued to go back and forth. But at some point, I wanted to be able to travel the way I wanted. And in 1997, actually, my boss at that time didn't want me to leave for 2 weeks of vacation. And that's what was a wake-up call. And I decided that if I wanted to travel, I should be able to travel whenever I want. And I didn't want to leave anybody to tell me that I can't do something. So I still didn't find a way to work in the US, but I decided to start my own business in France. So at least I would be able to travel when I wanted, and I won't have a boss who tell me, no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that. And at that time, so it was, when I started the business, I really made the decision in April 1998. And I didn't know what to do. I had no clue. I was not an entrepreneur. I was a salesperson before for a few years. And I had no clue. And I only knew that I wanted to have a business where I could use a phone, a computer, and internet connection. And then from that, I could have a business that I can manage from anywhere. So I quit my job on a Friday evening, and then I started my business on the Monday morning. I had no clients. no experience, no savings, because at that time I was making good money, but I was also spending all of the money. So I didn't put anything aside. But I just know that I had the determination of, I don't want a job anymore. I want to start a business. I want to be able to travel whenever I want. So I started as a virtual assistant because in 1998 in France it was the very beginning of this business, and I didn't need anything else than just a computer, internet, and a phone. And I didn't know any money in order to invest that, besides the fact that I bought the computer, but I didn't need any other money than that. And I could work from home. So for 2 years, I grew the business. And actually, very quickly, within 6 months, my business went from telemarketing to virtual assistant to telemarketing, because my background was sales. So each time I was promoting the business, I was also offering the option to set up appointment for clients or to sell the product on the phone. And then I had more and more small businesses who contacted me and say that's what we need, because they didn't have the money to have salespeople in-house, or they didn't have the money to hire like a big telemarketing company. So I started to get clients, and I grew the business for 2 years. So for 2 years, I didn't take any vacation. I worked 7 days a week, like 14, 16 hours a day, in order to grow the business, in order to make enough money to, at some point, to be able to go back to New York. And in 2000, I decided to take 2 weeks to go to New York, just to try and see if I could manage the business as I wanted from anywhere. So the first thing that I did was to call all of my clients, because I said we never know what can happen with internet, what can happen with the phone. And it was in 2000, so it's not like today we all have social media and all that kind of thing. So I contacted all of my clients to let them know that I will continue to work, but I will work from New York during 2 weeks. When I came back, I called them back to let them know that I was back. And it was very interesting, because most of them, even if I told them that I was leaving for 2 weeks, they didn't realize, they didn't notice anything. And they were asking me, some of them say, oh, by the way, when are you going in vacation in New York? And I said, well, it was not vacation, and I just came back. I said, what, how so? We got the report every week. We got the appointment. You did the job. So how did you do it? I said, well, because I wanted a job that I can manage from anywhere. So from that day, I knew that it was possible to manage my business from anywhere, as long as I had the phone, a computer, and internet. So starting from that, I continued to go back and forth to try to find a solution to still always get a visa. And at some point, I was able to find the right lawyer to do the paperwork. And in 2003, that's when I started my business in New York. And during all that time, during the 2 years that I was going back and forth, I was trying to see how I could grow the business, the telemarketing. But I realized very quickly that doing business and marketing in the US is completely different than doing business and marketing in France. Plus, my English was pretty much zero. So I couldn't do any telemarketing, because on the phone I couldn't understand what people say. And even if I try a little bit, people hang up all the time. So I said, this is not working. So I will have to find another way. But I was trying to learn how to do business the US way, the American way. So for the whole summer, for 3 months, I also went to the library in order to read every book that I could read about marketing, about what to do, how to do business, and what's the culture, which I didn't know at that time either. And that's where I found out about networking. I didn't know anything about networking. We didn't have networking in France at that time. So I learned about the concept. I decided to attend my first events that I found online. And then I stayed only like less than 2 minutes that day, because I was so scared that there's like 100 people in a bar. There is so much noise. I couldn't hear what they said. I couldn't understand what they said. And I was wondering why I was hearing about networking all the time. And then the Americans say, well, you find job with networking. 80% of the job, you find them through networking. And when you're an entrepreneur, you find your client through networking. So I don't like fillers. So I decided, okay, the first time I stay less than 2 minutes, so maybe next time I have to stay a little longer, and maybe I have to talk to people or find a way to talk to them. So I went back, and then I had the goals to speak with at least one or two person, and then the next time to speak with two or three person. And then little by little, I realized that I like the concept. It was something completely new, and I like the concept. So that's when I decided to start my own business, since I couldn't do telemarketing in English, to start my own business in order to organize networking events. And that's what I did in 2003. And I started my business, Biba for Network. And then from there, for 5 years in New York, I organized networking events. And at some point, I was even organizing 5 events a month. But I was trying to, I decided to organize them my own way and to have a very small, intimate groups of people. So that way, first of all, there is no more noise. And then being the host of the events, I would be able to meet everybody at the door, to welcome everybody. So I won't have the problem of the big noise that I couldn't hear people and couldn't understand what they said. And if it was more one-on-one, I had the time to say, okay, maybe I didn't understand this time. Maybe you can speak slowly. Maybe you can repeat. So that's helped me with my English also. But at the same time, the fact that I usually had the maximum of 20 to 25 people per meeting, I was able to meet everybody, to understand what they were doing, and to really understand the business and what was the need, and to connect them with other people. So very quickly, people realized that I was connecting people all the time, and that's how they give me the nickname of the Connection Queen. And then I really liked the concept. So, but at some point, the business was working so well, and people were seeing me everywhere, or the name of my company or the logo, they could see it everywhere. And they say, but what are you doing? Because we know that like 2 years ago, you didn't speak English, you didn't know anybody, you arrived in New York. How did you grow the business that fast? And I didn't have the feeling that I was doing something specific, but I guess I was doing something right. So I started coaching because of the demand. I started coaching people on networking. I said, well, people go to networking events, they exchange business cards, they go back home with plenty of business cards, but then they never follow up. And then I was wondering, what's the purpose to exchange your business card and to waste your time at networking if you never follow up with people? So in order for me to understand how it works, I created a system. I developed a system just for myself at first on how to use networking to make sure that I could find clients and that I could convert all the contact into clients. And then people bought asked me what I was doing. So I created a program that I sold to people. And then people say, okay, now we know what you do, but now we still need help. So that's how I became a coach, because people were asking me to help them to grow the business. So I started coaching on networking, and then a few years later, social media arrived, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and all that things. So I started to adapt my system with social media. And then very quickly, same thing, people said, how do you do? We can see you everywhere on social media. How do you have the time? Do you spend your whole day on social media? And then same thing, I created a system for myself in order to work. And when I was saying to people, no, I spend only 15 minutes a day on social media, but it's working because it's effective. What I do, it's effective. I don't waste my time on social media. I connect with the right people. I connect with my target market, with my ideal clients. So I convert people from social media as clients. So that's when also I added the social media in my program as a coach. And then it was very interesting how I never thought I would be a coach one day, but it's only because people were asking me what I was doing, how it was working, and they saw the result and they wanted help.
Wow.
Wow.
That is a
That is
really
a really
big.
big.
Oh,
Oh,
Jenny.
Jenny.
Yeah. And the thing is, when I decided, when in France years ago, when I decided, I said the only thing that I want in a business is the computer, internet connection, and a phone, because I want to manage it from anywhere. So I spent 5 years in New York, but 8 years ago, so after 5 years in New York, once I came to Miami to meet a friend. So I stayed in Miami only 3 days. I didn't know anything about Miami. I never been to Florida. And then at the end of the 3 days, I decided to move to Miami. And then I was able to do it and to make the decision that fast, because the business that I have, beside the networking part, but all the coaching, that was the business that I could do from New York or from Miami, it didn't matter. And then I was able to continue to move within 3 days and to continue my business without losing any clients.
So help us connect with you. One thing, either one
the one
business or a personal thing that we want to know about you, even if we've been following you for a while.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you.
So help us with one thing that we wouldn't know about you, even if we have been following you for a while.
One thing that people don't know about me?
Yeah, personal or business.
Well, it works on both because people are always surprised when I say that I'm a very shy person. Because they say, well, we see you everywhere, so how can you be shy? And the interesting thing is that one of the reasons I started organizing events in New York, it was to find a way because I was too shy to go to those events, to meet people. So I saw that if I organize my events, that will be easier because being the host, people come to you, so you don't have to go to them. In networking events, for example, I'm not the person who can go with my drink and go to say, hi, my name is Biba, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm pretty much waiting for people to come to me. So the reason why I started the events was first to solve the problem that I was shy, and second to solve the problem that I didn't speak English at that time. But the funny thing is that even if people call me the connection queen today because I'm always connecting people, if I go to a social event, I'm the one in a corner of the room and I wait. Also, same thing. I don't talk to anybody. I wait for people to come to talk to me.
Wow. Okay. So now we see that you went from where you were, from France, to moving to America. And I was wondering why people really called you the connection queen, but then you just kind of covered it there. So people always tend to think that even if the sun shines, because now you are successful. Did you have any setbacks or failures while setting up your business in New York?
Absolutely. It took me, first of all, it took me years to really succeed in the business. Because first, when I started the business, so besides going through all the process of immigration, getting a visa, which is very complicated in the US, but I'm sure in other countries also, then I started the business. But at first, I didn't see any results. I had some people who come to my events, but I was charging like $15 or $20 per person for an event. So it was not making good money. So I had to find a way to find different way to make money beside the networking events. And then at the first time, I was wondering why people were coming to the events, because we know that especially in the US, they love networking, so they go to a lot of events. But then when I was starting to sell my product as a coach, even if I started as a coach because people were asking me what I was doing, so that's how I created my first program. But I say, well, until now they loved all of my information when I give them for free. Now that I package a program or that I start coaching, why they don't want to buy? So it took me years and years to really understand why people like what I do but didn't buy. And then what I realized, which was something completely new for me also, because we didn't have that in France either, is that I noticed that most of the people who were successful around me, they either work with a coach or they were part of a mastermind. And then for few years, I looked at them and I said, I don't understand why they're successful and I'm not. So I started asking questions to people and noticed that the common point that they had was either a coach or being part of a mastermind. So I said, okay, maybe I guess that's the way to do it. So I have to find a coach or I have to join a mastermind. But at first, yeah.
Was it easy for you to find a coach?
Well, in the US, I mean, in France, it's become the same thing. But in the US at that time, I had the feeling that everybody was a coach. That was one thing that surprised me when I moved, because I was just arriving and everybody said, oh, I can be your coach. I can be your coach for the business. I can be your coach for your life. I can be your coach for your dating life. I mean, it seems that in America, there's coach for everything. So for a long time, I was resistant because we didn't have coach in France. So I didn't know what it was. And I thought, I was able to grow my business in France on my own, so why couldn't do the same thing? But then when I started to ask people around me and say, well, who are you working for? So it was not too complicated to have names of people who were very good. But then when I saw how much they charge, I said, well, I don't have that money, so I can't work with them. So then I said, okay, I will try to continue to work on my own. But then 6 months and 12 months pass, and then still the same. I still am the same level, and then I see other people who continue to grow and grow. They reach the six figures, and I was still like struggling to get clients. So at some point, I had to make a decision to really invest in myself and put the money on my credit card, even if I didn't have the money, but really invest in a coach. And as soon as I did that, that's how I was able to really grow the business. So it took me years and years to understand. And I think that's the problem with a lot of people, because we just don't, we have the feeling that we don't have the money. So we don't want to do it. We don't want to spend money because we see that as a cost instead of seeing this as an investment.
Okay.
So the advice that I will give to people, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel and to waste months or years on trying to do the business on your own, it's very important that you invest in a coach or you invest in a mastermind group. And then that way you have people who tell you what to do, how to do it, why what you're doing it's not working, and then you save time. And then if you save time, then suddenly you see the clients who are coming, and then you make money. So when you invest in a coach, you save time and money.
Wow. Regarding that setback, you didn't have money. What was your emotion? What did you experience? How did you feel? And how did you describe what was going on in your business to your closest friend and family? Did you discuss those things to your friends and family?
When it was not working?
Yeah, when you were like struggling to find a
Yeah.
mentor because you didn't have enough money. Did you talk to your family and friends?
Yeah, the thing is, the family and friends, they can advise you, but they're not entrepreneurs. So they try to be nice with you, but they don't have the solution. So I was always lucky with my parents who always support me. Whatever I did, they always support me. But then even my parents wanted to give me money, and I said, no, I don't want your money. I want my business to work. But at least emotionally, they were there to help me. But other than that, the friends doesn't really help because they don't have the solution. And that's the reason why at some point you understand that you need to meet like-minded people. So you need to a group of other entrepreneurs who will be able to help you and to answer your questions, because your family and your friends, they can't answer. Even if they want to be nice with you, they have no way to help you. But at least when you have somebody who supports you emotionally, that I always had my parents who help me emotionally, this is already very important, because I know a lot of people and I have a lot of clients who have nobody around them, and everybody say, well, stop trying to find a job, a real job, stop this business. This is not a business. This is just a hobby. So for some people, it's very difficult.
Okay. You left your job on Friday evening to start a business on a Monday morning in France. How
Yeah.
can someone leave their job on a Friday evening and start a business on a Monday morning? What skills do we need? Or are you just special?
I'm not special. I didn't have any special skills. The only thing that I have was my determination and my motivation, because it's very important to have something that drives you. What drives me was that, okay, my boss doesn't want me to leave whenever I want, so I want to have the freedom to travel the way I want. So that's the reason why I said, for some people it won't be comfortable, and I don't necessarily advise people to do what I did, but you can, for example, decide that you will work part-time and then you start your business part-time, or you have a job and then you work on your business in the evening or during the weekend. But in my case, I know my personality, and I know that I have to give everything or nothing. So I said, if I try to do both at the same time, I won't be successful in any other. And the reason why I was able to stay for years and years well, my business in France starts very well, but then like 2 years later, I started again from scratch in New York, and then go back to the struggle, to the frustration, and all that kind of things. But the reason why I never quit is because I always had this determination. I said, I know what I want. My final goals is to have the money to be able to move to the United States.
Okay.
So because I have that very, very strong, and I know that when I want something, I can get it. It can be difficult. And again, I didn't know when, I didn't know how it will be possible, but I know that at some point it will be possible. And then I decided, when I quit my job, I said, okay, if I want to try, I have to do it, because otherwise I will never know if it works or not. But then at the same time, if it's not working, if it's 9 months or a year, really, it's really so bad that it's not working, it will still be time to go back and find a job. But that was in 1998, and I never had to go back to a job. So
Okay, so Clan, you have to keep at it, keep pushing and determined
absolutely.
to really succeed. I know my clan would love to hear how you overcome the fear of money and all the struggles you went through finding a mentor. And we are going to talk much more about this in our extended interview. But just tempt us for the later, Biba. How did you make it through being in a foreigner country and no contacts?
Well, I never even asked the questions because that was my choice. So it was really, I had this really, and I say that everything in my life was about motivation. You know, I made the decision to move to this country that I didn't know and I didn't have anybody. I didn't have my family. I just have like one person that I knew in New York who was not really a friend at that time. She became a friend, but she was more somebody that I met in Paris and who helped me at the beginning. But I say that's I'm not even sure that I can explain why, because so many people ask me for years and years, why do I really wanted to go to New York? And I really can't explain that. And I can't explain either the reason why when I landed with the plane, I feel that I arrive at home. I don't know. Maybe I say maybe I was living in New York in a different life. I don't know.
Well, it was a dream for you to, as a child, that you wanted to be in New York, and you finally got it. You're now in New York.
Yeah, but at the same time, I didn't know what to expect. So I thought when I landed that day, I said, maybe I will be completely disappointed. Maybe I made a big movie in my head about New York and maybe it's not what I expect. But then when I arrived, I said, okay, you know, it's not an easy city to live with. But I said, I will make it work because that's really my dream.
Wow. Yes, thank you. You made it. Okay, you said your specialty online is in network marketing. Can you please tell my clan what you do in one sentence?
I help mainly solo entrepreneur. My clients are really solo entrepreneur. I help solo entrepreneur to grow the visibility online and offline because it's important to use both in order to attract clients instead of chasing clients. When people come and say, well, I see you everywhere, and then but if they say it in a very good way, you know, it's not like, ah, I'm tired to see this person, but we say, well, how are you doing it? We see you everywhere, so it means you have enough visibility, so people come to you. And when people come to you, it's much easier to get clients because you don't have to do a sales pitch all the time. You just have to communicate with people. So they find what they see what you do, whether it's on social media, it's on your blog, or when they meet you at networking events, and then they're attracted by what you do, by the way you're doing it, by the way maybe you're doing it differently than other people because you don't try to sell, and then they want to learn more about you. And then when they see the result of your business, and when they see, for example, the testimonials that you can have with other people to show that they got results working with you, then they said, well, that's what I want. If you were able to help this other person who has the exact same problem that I have, that's what I want. So I want to work with you. And that's what I really teach to my clients, how to grow the visibility to attract people instead of chasing them.
Okay. My clan is a group of hungry entrepreneurs looking to move their businesses forward. How can your expertise help my clan?
If they want to move like from a local business to online business,
Let's say we are online business, but we are brand new. We are like
oh,
starting today. So how can your expertise help us?
well, it's very important that you spend a lot of time at first. Well, when I say that I spend 15 minutes a day on social media, of course, when you start, you will have to spend more time than that. But you really have to, and this is the reason why it's really great to have social media today compared to when I started my business 13 years ago. We didn't have social media. But today, everybody is there. There's like gazillions of people on social media. So they're here and they hang out on social media all day long. So you have to be very present, not only on Facebook, but you have to be there on Twitter, you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to be on YouTube, you have to be everywhere. and make sure that you communicate with people. So the way you communicate with people is when you join groups, mainly on Facebook and on LinkedIn. You join groups that are related to your target market and to your business, and you communicate with the people in the groups. So pretty much it's the same thing that when you go to a networking event and when you go in a room. So, but when you do it online, you join a group online and you communicate with people. So you exchange with them, you comment when they put something, they put some information, you click like, you share some information. And then you know that if the people are in this group, if it's related to what you do, it means because they have an interest, otherwise they wouldn't be there. So then you can invite the people on those groups, because a lot of people on social media, they make the big mistake. They say, I want fans, I want people to follow me, and they invite everybody, but everybody won't be your clients. You just want to communicate with your target market. So with the groups, you invite the people, you communicate with them, and you invite people. Like usually I suggest people to invite 5 people a day on Facebook, no more than 5, because otherwise people can shut down your account very quickly. But on LinkedIn, you can invite a little more people. So when people see you over and over and over in the groups, and when they see that you're not doing a sales pitch, but when you give information, you give tips, you share your articles, you give great content, well, they say, well, this person is really know what she's doing, and maybe I'm gonna, after they see you a while, maybe they said, well, I want to learn more. So maybe they will go to your page, they will go to your website. And in marketing, today the statistics show that people need to see or hear a message at least 16 times before they pay attention. So which means it takes even more interaction. A few years ago, it was 7 times. Now we are 16 times, because we are bombarded with things all the time on social media, on the radio, on TV, everywhere. So people won't notice you the first time. So that's the reason why it's very important to be consistent. And marketing, it has to be every single day, not just once, sometimes 2 times. And if you really present everywhere, every day, they will see you again and again and again. And maybe after numbers of time, they say, oh, I really like what she said. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's different from other people. She's not trying to sell me anything, but she gives me good advice all the time. So I want to learn more. And then if you have a blog, they will go to your blog. They will read your articles. They will check your video if you have some. They will sign up for your newsletter, for your ebook, free ebook if you have one. They will learn more about you. And then after that, you continue to communicate with them. So you send them emails. They continue to follow you on social media. You send them in your newsletter. And then at some point, they made the decision to contact you because they know that you are the right person, and maybe you're the only person that can help them with a problem.
All right. Do you have something today that can help us with our online journey, something to make the road a bit smoother for us?
In order to do online?
Yes, because I know earlier on we talked about your book. It's called Start Your Dream Business. So where do we find this book?
Well, the book Start Your Dream Business, you can find it on Amazon. But if you go on my website, theconnectionqueen.com, you can find the free gift that I offer to people is a free ebook on how to use networking, on how to be more effective in networking. And I think it's five or six videos where I show people on how to be effective on social media. So already if they sign up and they get the gift, they already have some information. And then if they follow the strategy, they will see result in the business. And of course, if they want more, there's the coaching that because I help people one-on-one in order to help them to show what is your business today, what are your goals, what do you want to do. So I have people that I start really from scratch. Like I have a client from Spain. We started like 3 months ago from zero. He just started a new business. He had no product. He didn't know how to put the price, what to sell to people. He didn't have a website. He didn't have a blog. He didn't have social media. So we really started from scratch in order to set up all the marketing tools that he needs in order to communicate and attract the people. And then I have other people who already have the business, but I have a lot of clients, for example, who are a local business, but they're not online. So they want to switch and they want to be able to find clients anywhere in the world, for example, which exactly what I do, because I'm in Miami, but I would say 80% of my clients are in Europe and the other 20% are in the United States. But in France, I didn't go to France for the last 8 years. So of course I didn't get my clients because I was over there, because I was going to networking. So the only reason that I got those people was because I have this big visibility online. So that's what people have to do. And if they take the free gift, that will give them already numbers of information. And I also offer a 30 free session just to see what are people's goals, what they want to do with the business, where do they want to go, and if they're ready to invest in the business, and if they're ready to work together, and if I'm the right people to work with them, and if they are the right people, if they're the right fit with my ideal clients.
Okay. Clan Biba is going to hang out and share more information about her journey with us. If you can relate to where Biba started her journey travels so far, or if you just want to learn more about Biba, you can listen to the extended version of her journey at onlinesuccessjourney.com. If you are listening at the journey, click on part 2 of Biba journey and you will get even more tips to help you with your online journey. Remember, you can go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for more information about the membership and all our journey podcast. So check out Biba's book, Start Your Dream Business Today, on Amazon. We have more information, and if you are not part of the clan, you should be. Biba is offering a free 30 minutes coaching session, and you can sit with her for 30 minutes and figure out what is your dreams, what is your goals, and she will get you from 0 to 6 figure as she does with other businesses.
Absolutely.
Okay. That's a wrap, clan. Remember, success is a journey. See you in part 2, Patience and Biba Pedron.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to part 1 and want to be sure you know there is a second part to this and every journey podcast at onlinesuccessjourney.com, filled with even more success tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. There are dozens of episodes only available to the members of the Online Success Journey clan. Check out the website and click on Join the Clan for more information. Patience would like to thank you for listening to this podcast, and she has a free audio gift for you at her website. Go to onlinesuccessjourney.com for instant access to this gift. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps each of us chart our own path, so make sure you're subscribed to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and to listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review it at Stitcher and other sites by clicking the stars or completing the ratings form, by clicking thumbs up and leaving a comment on YouTube, or liking and sharing the podcast on social media. To review the podcast within iTunes, simply open iTunes to the podcast, click on Ratings and Reviews, then write a review. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.